Video games have reached a point where they look immersive and authentic. We aren't quite at that point of photorealism yet, but looking at the state of art and rendering and animations sure makes it feel that complete photorealism may just be right around the corner. But it doesn't take much to dispel that illusion though. As soon as you find your first chain link fence that's somehow impervious to everything from a machine gun to a tank, you're immediately pulled out of that immersive sense. If there's one thing programmers don't like, it's unpredictability and the lack of control that comes with it. In games like the Modern Warfare series single-player campaign, you are virtually on a mildly interactive roller coaster ride. It's basically a funhouse with specific scripted events triggered by something specific, such as stepping into a room or opening a door. This allows game designers to have a very tight control over the experience the player has. If you go along with what the puppet master predicted you'll do, you'll go through this seamless illusion of depth. However, go off the script accidentally or on purpose, and you'll soon find out how paper thin the walls of this reality really are. If the programmers let you do whatever you wanted, say blow a hole through any wall, it would easily break the game and completely mess up their carefully planned scripting. The more open and freeform games become, the more prone to bugs and glitches they are. Anyone who's played a Bethesda game knows exactly what I'm talking about. Even highly polished open world games such as The Witcher 3 or GTA 5 can be broken easily with just a little bit of imagination or just plain dumb luck. So what's more disorganized than an explosion? Than a smashing piece of glass or shattering building? By their very definition, these things are disorganizing of something that was organized before. The ability to randomly destroy anything in game with no way of predicting what the consequences will be is a nightmare for game designers. Most games that give you free reign to rearrange game geometry with various of explosions aren't so much games as they are sandbox toys. The game's components of these titles are usually pretty simple. Take the game Besieged for example. In this game, you build a siege engine to achieve the goals on a level-by-level basis, sort of like a cooler Angry Birds. These goals are conceptually simple: kill X number of soldiers, burn down the castle, hell, create a replica of a clockwork pony, I think. Because the game objectives are easily measured and there aren't many rules, the designers can let the players have free reign to solve the problem however they wish. So surely it would be impossible to give the same free reign to destroy whatever you want to with a game that, let's say, has narrative and mission structure as we've come to know it in most games, right? Except it's been done, and it works. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you one of my favorite games last generation, Red Faction Guerilla. This is one of my favorite games of all time. It's criminally underrated, and I wish more people would have played it. In Red Faction Guerilla, you play as Alec Mason, a minor engineer who gets his ass to Mars in order to start a new life with his brother Dan.
Get your ass to Mars.
His brother asks him to join Red Faction, an anti-government group that leads to Alex putting his extensive demolition skills to use on the big red playground that is the Martian Thraxis region. This was one of the first games on the Xbox 360 and PS3 era I really thought of as next generation at the time. It was definitely a cinematic AAA game with a real story and solid structure, but at the same time the game allowed for unprecedented amount of destructibility. You could blow through walls, knock down a bridge, whatever you want. Destruction is a core mechanic in Red Faction Guerilla. The whole experience is designed around your ability to creatively level everything in sight. By design, the conventional weapons you're given in the game don't compare to most of the high-end military hardware your government oppressors are packing, so you have to use the environment as a weapon if you want any hope of winning, hence the name Guerrilla. Guerrilla warfare is all about David vs. Goliath combat, and leveraging that as a game design philosophy is mainly why Red Faction Guerilla has such a unique and satisfying experience. It blew my mind when I found out that this actually is the third Red Faction game, and that the first Red Faction, released back in 2001, had even more destructibility. Thanks to its innovative GeoMod engine, the original game allowed you to deform any part of game geometry that you saw, including level geometry itself. If you wanted, you could turn the entire level into one big crater on the surface of Mars. Later games would dial this down to reduce the number of game-breaking conditions the player would create, but high levels of true destructibility have always been its core mechanic. Red Faction Guerilla has always had an impression on me, so much so that I found myself missing destructibility as a game mechanic over the last few years. Every time a new Battlefield game comes out, for example, I get super excited at all the destruction videos, hoping that the game's destruction technology has finally reached the level I experienced in Red Faction Guerilla, and every time, unfortunately, I end up somewhat disappointed. Now, don't get me wrong, the destruction in the latest Battlefield games is beautiful to behold, but it's just eye candy. The impact of gameplay is limited. Once you learn the rules of what can and how things can be destroyed, the puppet strings become painfully clear. It's all a pre-made canned animation illusion. When a building collapses, it does so the same way every time. When a barricade is shot to pieces, its model is just swapped out with another one. There's nothing that you can do differently every single time other than choosing the timing by which to spring the trap. My next big hope is Battlefield 1. It's inevitable that a game set in World War I is going to feature destruction on a scale that simply doesn't exist in the surgical drone strike world of modern warfare. Battlefield 1 will have some terrain deformation and sees a return of building destruction last seen in Battlefield Bad Company 2. Despite not being a total free-for-all like the Red Faction games have been, the Battlefield games are still, in my mind, the mainstream flag bearers for high levels of destruction. No one else seems to be pushing this particular technology in the AAA space these days, and it's a damn shame. Yes, it's one of those harder game mechanics to implement from a design perspective, and no, not every game needs it or will benefit, but the Red Faction series and other games like it have demonstrated that if you think through it carefully, destruction can be one of the deepest game mechanics there is. If you have a hankering for destruction, you can always go back and play a Red Faction game, although honestly the series peaked with Guerilla if you ask me. There are a few other additional games that do stand out as a way to scratch that destruction itch a bit. Minecraft is definitely the obvious one. The Just Cause series is another great one, even though its latest title has mixed feelings. You can even find games that are over-ambitious in destruction, but inevitably they are bargain bang titles. The 2010 title Breach is pretty forgettable, but it did have high levels of destruction with an almost fully dynamic destruction system. Outside of those on the horizon, sadly, it's looking pretty barren. The most exciting titles in terms of environmental destruction is probably Crackdown 3, and it's set to be released sometime in 2017, but this sequel in the popular Crackdown franchise is going to be using cloud computing to calculate unseen levels of urban chaos. I can't wait to see if it's any good, but I worry that unless it comes to PC, it may be hard to experience the game in its full glory with Xbox One hardware. So, what about you? Do you like destruction in games? And what's your favorite destruction-heavy game? Let me know in the comments below if there's a game that has heavy destruction that I missed out on, because I'm really itching to blow some stuff up. Hey, thanks for watching this entire video, and if you enjoyed it, why not leave a like and comment below? And if you like what you've seen here, check out my other videos and maybe subscribe. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.